After 70 years in exile, the people of Judah returned to Jerusalem determined to rebuild. The walls began to rise, the city slowly came back to life. But something deeper remained unfinished. Return to me, and I will return to you. Revival begins with return. Zechariah steps in, not with rules, but with a question. Can you rebuild your heart, not just your city? He saw that the work before them was not only about walls and temples, but about healing wounds that ran deep within. He invited them to look inward, to ask themselves what it meant to truly come home, not just to a place, but to God. He saw that the deepest rubble was not in the streets, but in the hearts of the people. The ruins of Jerusalem were a mirror for their own brokenness, their doubts, and their longing for restoration. Zechariah's words were a gentle challenge to clear away the debris within, to let hope take root again, and to trust that God could rebuild what seemed lost forever. God wanted more than a restored city. He wanted restored children. The true homecoming was not just about returning to a place, but about returning to the heart of God, a journey of healing, forgiveness, and hope. As the sun rose over Jerusalem, a new story was beginning. One not just of rebuilding walls, but of rebuilding lives and rediscovering what it means to truly belong. Jerusalem rises again. Scaffolding climbs toward the sky. Hammers strike stone. The city once silent now breathes with movement. Jerusalem rises again. Scaffolding climbs toward the sky. Hammers strike stone. The city once silent now breathes with movement. But beneath the noise of rebuilding, something is fading. The excitement that once burned bright is dimming. Their hands are busy, but their hearts grow tired. They rebuild the walls, but the temple stands quiet. In restoring the city, they are forgetting the God of the city. A city can rise in stone while collapsing in spirit. They are busy with God's work, their hands never idle, but in their rush to rebuild, they forget the God of the work. The altar sits unused, the sacred songs are silent, and the connection to the divine fades into the background. Spiritual quietness settles over Jerusalem, a heavy silence of disconnection. The city stands, but its spirit is adrift, longing for something more than bricks and mortar. God sees their busyness but knows their heart's foundation is crumbling. The true rebuilding must begin within, where faith and purpose are restored, and the soul of the city can finally awaken. For 70 years, Judah lived in exile, strangers in Babylon, longing for home. Then miraculously, King Cyrus set them free. They returned to ruins, but with hope, rebuilding the altar and starting the temple. But rebuilding a nation is hard. Zeal faded as years passed. The people had changed. Babylon had shaped them. Worship was no longer central. Hostile neighbors, poor harvests, and survival took priority. The grand vision of restoration felt distant. The temple work stopped for 16 years. They focused on their own homes and problems. They brought Babylon's spirit of self-reliance with them. The exile was over, but its effects lingered. This ancient story feels modern. We may not live in Babylon, but we know spiritual exile. We polish our lives on the outside, but inside we can feel empty. We're active in community and church, yet distant from God. Like Zechariah's people, we build, but our spirits stall. It's easy to mistake a well-managed life for a surrendered heart. God looks past appearances. He seeks the quiet, neglected rooms of our souls. Zechariah sees a scroll flying across the sky. Large, undeniable, impossible to ignore. It carries judgment against theft and falsehood. The message is clear. Sin cannot remain hidden. God's holiness moves through the land, cleansing what corrupts his people. Then comes another vision. Wickedness exposed, contained, and removed. Evil is not ignored. It is confronted. It is carried away. Restoration is not only about rebuilding walls. It is about purifying hearts. God does not merely comfort, he cleanses, and cleansing is mercy. And when we turn toward him, we find that he was already reaching toward us. The journey back to God is not one we walk alone. The one who calls us to return also promises his presence. He strengthens what he commands. He restores what he confronts. Return is not merely emotional comfort, it is covenant renewal. And when a people turn toward him, he rebuilds more than walls. He rebuilds identity, purpose, and glory. The people thought finishing the temple would bring God's blessing. But God wanted their hearts, not just their buildings. True revival starts inside, not with outward success. God would rather dwell with devoted people in a tent than with distracted ones in a golden temple. Revival begins with honesty, admitting we've drifted, and turning back to God. It's not about grand gestures, but a simple, humble prayer. Lord, I want to come home. When hearts return, the work becomes joy, not duty. That honest plea moves God more than the grandest cathedral. God's invitation comes with a gentle warning: learn from the past. Don't be like your ancestors who ignored the prophets and suffered exile. The ruins around them were a daily reminder of the cost of hard hearts. God pleads, choose life, not stubbornness. We too can drift from God and lose our peace and purpose. But God's warning is wrapped in mercy. Ignoring him leads to exile, but returning brings restoration. The warning isn't the end, it's the setup for hope and mercy. After the call to return, God gives Zechariah a vision. A man on a red horse stands among myrtle trees in a ravine. Israel, low and hidden, but alive. The man is the angel of the Lord, God present with his people in their low place. Heavenly scouts report the world at rest, while Israel struggles. The angel intercedes. How long, Lord, will you withhold mercy? Heaven itself prays for the struggling people. God responds with good and comforting words. He has not forgotten them. Even in hidden times, God is present, active, and full of love. God's words are a cascade of promises for his people. He declares passionate, protective love for Jerusalem. He promises to return with mercy and rebuild the city himself. The restoration will be intentional and glorious. God cares for their spiritual and physical needs. Prosperity will return. Most tenderly, he promises comfort and reaffirms his choice of them. Zechariah sees 4 horns, oppressive powers, and 4 craftsmen, God's agents to break them. No force is too great for God to overcome. The message: God is in control, his promises are sure, and a new dawn is coming. Return to him, and watch him restore all. And so the call still stands, not to rebuild walls first, but to rebuild hearts. Return to me, God says, and in that return, everything begins again.